Hello, Missladypetal here, and I'm doing my weekly vlog. Now, a couple of things came out of last week's vlog, and a few of you expressed an interest in hearing more of my journey about my personal pursuit of happiness and well-being and things like that. And look, I will from time to time, as things come up, share more and more of my personal life with you all. It's part of how I want to be able to share my experiences with all of you that care to watch. And I think in this shrinking global world, it helps keep everybody connected, and I love the thought that I can share something of my life with someone that lives on the other side of the world. So I will do that. But I have a lot of other things that I need to talk to today that also came out of that last journal. So, firstly, I have just been to the post office and I have happy mail. So, Lisa Bailey, how gorgeous is that doodling on this envelope? That is just gorgeous. Lisa, I think I sent Lisa some happy mail random, and she has reciprocated, so let's have a look and see what's in this, because I just cut the top off but I haven't actually opened it, so you get to see my reactions on camera. And I'm loving this. What she's done, and I've thought of doing this, is she's covered all of it in a map. So I've got some map paper, and I really like little journals and things like that and diaries that use map paper. So, you know me better than I thought you did. And she says to me, she says, oh, and she sent me this beautiful tag, and on the back she's gone, "Dear Peter, thank you for your hard work with the letter journals. Love your YouTube videos. Keep crafting. Thanks for the happy mail. God bless, and lots of love, Lisa B." Right back at you, babe. Lots of love back to you, Lisa B. Love this. I have to use that. I've got 3 letter journals on my desk at the moment. It's like I get about 3 a week at the moment. It's exciting. Actually, no, I've just got 4 because I had a peek inside one of the other envelopes, but I'll show you that. I got some hand-stamped tissue paper, and it's awesome because there's 1 or 2 stamps that I have, but there's heaps that I don't on that. And I'm loving the great big long bird cage and the calendar and the bike. So I'm going to be using that. I don't think a lot of this will last very long, Lisa. Some painted paper, and I'm like a big sucker for painted papers. Oh, and a whole bunch of tags. I love these because they're in this like beautiful earthy kind of stuff, and I've got a whole heap of these beautiful painted tags. How gorgeous, out of drop papers and stuff. I'm loving that. She knows I have these earthy kind of leanings, and some more drop paper and with stamps and doodles and things. I cut out of some more scratch paper. You know what, I love these bright cards. It's almost like as thick as a postcard. But this is awesome to either reinforce covers of letter journals or use as pockets because they're nice and strong. And we've got some dress patterns and magazine things that have been like either sprayed or jelly printed on. Looks like spraying. And some music charts. I'm a bit of a muso myself, play guitar, so always love anything to do with sheet music, and when I go looking for ephemera, I'm always looking for sheet music. This is on like, must be recycled paper, have a look. That is like really kind of loose and really bendable. Loving that. I love those colours. I'm a really big yellow, orange and magenta fan at the moment. Even though my favourite colour is teal, I love that combination. It's just gorgeous. Some more painted papers on the back of dress patterns, but thicker dress patterns like out of a magazine. And some jelly prints, loving that. It looks so bright and cheery. And some scan. It's just awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Lisa. More fodder for letter journals and my journaling. In fact, I haven't even done a documented life page this week. I've had so many letter journals, I haven't had time to do one. I'll have to actually film doing some sort of letter journal page. I'm working on one at the moment for my 4-year-old niece, so that should be safe. But I'm definitely keeping that, and you'll see that maybe in a journal page coming soon. Alright, so next one. The next one is from Anne Williamson in the US. Thank you, Anne. I wasn't expecting this, and she's going, Happy Mail KIF, and how gorgeous is that beautiful little envelope. Thank you, Anne. Let's see what she's put in here. So cute. She goes, Dear Peter, I saw on Facebook that you liked my punched papers, so I thought I would send you some. I also included a little something. What is that little something, Anne? I'm loving this envelope, by the way. It's like a desertscape envelope. I'll try and be very careful because I'm always looking for different envelopes to actually put in things, so I'll have a look. And she sent me some of these punched with painted papers, and it's all these little punches, which I love because they're scalloped circles, and I'm a big circle freak, right? So I can absolutely see, and like out of ephemera and book pages and scans of painted papers, and I'm loving these, and I can use them instead of my circles because they're awesome. And as my extra, she sent me a gorgeous little ATC. How gorgeous is that? I love those gorgeous vintage images that Anne uses. So cute, and that is just gorgeous. Really loving that. Thank you so much, Anne. Thank you. I will. I still have my cough. It happens when I talk too much. I've already been in a meeting today, so I talk too much. There we go. I've said it. Yeah. So, let's have a look. So the next package is from Gina, who would be able to mistake this duct tape. She's the only one that I know that sends me stuff with that. It's awesome. And I just, oh gosh, she wedges stuff in. Right. Okay. Oh, so another letter journal. So we were, you have to be really careful when you're signing up to letter journal swaps, right? So I'll tell you a story, and I'm not going to name names because this could happen to anyone, and this is not the only instance of this particular thing happening. So she sent me a letter journal to do, and she has sent me this new one because she's got, we had one that went missing in the mail. So the story about that is, when you sign up to a letter journal swap, you need to make sure that you can afford the financial commitment of posting out 4 journals. Because there are 4 people in this swap. In this particular swap that we were in, there were 5. So you had to be able to afford to send off 5 journals, your first and then the other 4. And before yours would come back to you. And we would deliberately only did it so that there was 1 round. So, but what happened was, one person along the way didn't send any on. So she received 3 journals, didn't send hers on, didn't send any that she received on, after repeated attempts where we even offered to pay the postage for her to send those journals on, she still didn't send the journals on. And we got numerous excuses and things about that. But considering that members of the group actually offered to post these on and pay the postage so that those journals would just go around, we decided that we would have to continue the swap without the journal. So I then received mine back because mine wasn't one of the ones that was actually held, and that was this journal here. So this journal here I got back, but Gina's and Vicky's journals didn't manage to go on. So what Gina sent me is the replacement journal for that previous swap. So I got mine back, but Gina hasn't got one and Vicky hasn't got one. So we will definitely, and look, here we go. We've got pages that are stuck together. I was talking to Kimberly Solomon earlier this week, and she had received one of my journals that had this same sticking thing going on. And I know Meridel Abrams has talked about acetate and wax paper and stuff like that. But if you find that you get them and they're stuck together and you can't get them apart and you don't want to rip them, Kimberly told me a trick which I'll share with you, which was to put them in the freezer. So you freeze these, because what happens is they may not stick even when they're pressed together, but when they get heated up, the paint will reactivate and become more sticky. So if you cool them down in the freezer and just pop them in the freezer, you should be able to put them apart, because acrylic paints are actually a plastic, and they can, as you know, plastic gets soft and warm when it gets warm, and when it expands out and can often get tacky. Now if you've got putting these in the freezer, it will get hard. It will be far more resistant to not ripping things off the paper, and it becomes more brittle. So it should work. So I'm going to give that a go, because I already have to do that before I can work on it for that particular one. And I got some happy mail in. So she sent me some Liquitex products cards, all about mediums, collaging with mediums, acrylic transfers, varnishing, and pools, puddles and drips with pouring medium. Awesome. And what they are is they tell you all about it, the recommended application, the product, and how to do it. Awesome, Miss Gina. You are, as always, incredible. She sent me the Apostles' Creed in like a really old document with old typewritten text, which I'm completely in love with. If I don't have that font on a computer, I download veteran typewriters and vintage typewriter fonts. She knows that. And she says to me in her letter that these were in some of her grandmother's things, and she wanted to share. And she's just, Gina is just gorgeous. She's one of my dearest friends, and I love her to bits. And she sent me it looks Italian dictionary page. So I have Dutch, I have a Dutch dictionary, I have Italian now. I have a French one as well. Pretty awesome. Oh, and how to build a martini serviette, which is probably going to be, I have an awesome stamp that goes, I think, very well with that. So you may find that, Gina, in your letter journal. Because of course you do things about yourself in letter journals, right? So that's it for the happy mail. So a couple of things from feedback that I got from talking about letter journals last week. Okay, so one of the things is that it is highly desirable. In fact, I'm just going to come out and say, please add collage, stamps, paint, elements to other pages, because if you don't have anything but your own double page done and everybody else just does a double page, you're going to end up back with a journal back that's either empty or the last person to get it, like I got one recently where I had to do 4 double spreads in it because one, they'd added more pages into the journal and I really didn't want to send it back empty. So that's quite onerous when you're only supposed to really do one and then add to some extra pages. And I don't mind doing it because I cared about the person who was going to get it, and I really cared about the experience that they would have. But make sure you put the right amount of pages in there, unless you're doing private swaps, and then you can do whatever you want. But when you're doing Crazy Island swaps, then one, you want them all to be the same size. You want there to be the same number of pages in there so that no one person feels more feels obligated to do more work than what is actually sanctioned in the swap, and so that you don't end up with a blank journal when you get it back if everybody sticks to the rules. There was another thing that Meridel Abrams brought up with me in the comments on my vlog that she wanted me to bring up in this chat, and one of those things was, if we call it a letter journal, do we actually then consider it a little bit like a letter and we write in it, and we write a little bit of something of ourselves in it? And I quite often do this in my journals, although I haven't done it in all. I find, for me personally, and I said this to Mary, I said, well, not everybody feels comfortable writing, not everybody likes their handwriting, and not everybody kind of knows what to say. And when I explained to her that I called them letter journals because I wanted them to fit in a standard envelope, and it was more about the size and the weight rather than necessarily the content, she said to me, well then, what makes it different then from a normal art journal swap? And I said, well, the size and weight. And she then said, well, take those things out of it, and if we call it a letter journal, don't you think it would be more personal if we wrote something of ourselves, or even had a collaborative page where I've started doing in a few of my letter journals things that I'm grateful for, because I practice gratitude, and God told me to practice gratitude this year, because you are never I was listening to someone the other day, just as an aside, I was listening to someone on the radio the other day, and she was talking about the art of practicing gratitude. And it's not the cliched I'm grateful for, thankful, or keeping a journal, blah blah blah. It was about applying gratitude to every scenario that hits your life. And what I mean by that is, if you have an accident in your car but you're okay, the other person's okay, you're both covered by insurance, you can either choose to think that this is awful, or you can rise above it, look down on it, rise further, look down to see how small that we are, think about rising yourself further and looking down on Australia, thinking about rising yourself further and looking down on the world, and then put it into perspective, how small is that in the whole scheme of things. And it made me wonder. I also got this amazing magazine, and I'm going to talk more about this next week because I haven't finished reading it yet, and I really want to do that before I talk about it. But it's actually printed at a little town locally down in New South Wales called Bangalow, and I used to drive through Bangalow every day to get to work at Byron Bay, where incidentally Jane Davenport lives. Now, I looked at this magazine, and it is the only magazine that I've found that's not concerned about fashion, it's not concerned about consumerism, selling anything. It's not about that at all. It's written by a bunch of philosophers and artists, and they're pondering the meaning of life. And it's called Womankind. And I'm going to be using a lot of that material in my art journals because it so resonates with where I sit right now about my journey in life and loving what I have, what I've got now. And it's not about the accumulation of possessions. Even within my artscape, it is not about the accumulation of possessions and materials. It is more about producing the art, and if I need something to produce it, then I get it. If I can use something from recycling or use something differently, then I do. I try not to overbuy anything because it's more about the creating passionately than the accumulation of a collection. So the whole magazine is devoted to that and getting us to think about something other than ourselves and our own desires and wants, and maybe focusing our thoughts on things other than the acquisition of wealth into living a life that's worth living. And that for me is a really big thing. It's all part of the gratitude thing. It's all part of that. So getting back to letter journals. So I do things in letter journals, and I'm going to show you one thing that I'm doing in a letter journal. And this is a little tab of Happy Mail that I got, and on it I've written, what inspires you? Write something here. So on the flip up I've written some things that inspire me, but I've left it so that the other contributors to the journal can actually write something there. In another one I actually wrote, I'm grateful for, and I've done it on tags or as a list on a page, and that is a perfect collaboration page. Things about particular, also think about too, so there's that collaborative thing, but also writing something and thinking about something, and then you could sign your name next to what you write. The other thing is that Mary and I have both noticed, and a few other people have commented, is if you do not sign your work, we don't know who's done what work when we get our journals back, and we guess. So make sure that when you do a page or even add collaboratively to another page, go and sign your name. I've got a particular journal that's got 3 signatures on it because 3 people contributed to that one page, and it doesn't detract from the page whatsoever. In fact, it adds interest to it because you look at how all those things meld together to make the page work, and I love that idea. So I encourage you all, make sure you sign your work. You can even date it if that's what you want to do, but also think about each letter journal as a whole. So when I get a letter journal across my desk, and this is my a letter journal that's going out to my 4-year-old niece, and it's just almost finished, I'm thinking about the whole journal. So this particular one, she's put that she likes garden fairies. So I've themed my work in this journal to be everything about fairies. So this is the last page that I'm working on, and I'm using it from a Journaling Crazy Island style prompt, and this was the sketch that I did for the latest Wings prompt. So I'm using that in her little journal. She's not online, and she's done little fairies and things like that. So, you know, these pull out pages that we can do. I've done her a fairy spread with another fairy that I drew and painted, and a whole fairy scape. She's got a little gift bag here that's got a little painting in here, and she's painted this page. She punched out some butterflies, and I've added all the detail and the doodling to the butterflies, and added in a little thing that I received in Happy Mail, and she stuck in some more. She's done some drawings in crayons, and I've got a little envelope here that I'm going to write a little letter to her that she can pull out. I've done a little face here because she's a fairy queen, and there's a real butterfly wing here, down here, and like very delicate, so I've put some medium over the top, clear gel medium, and all of her hair is made out of punched out butterflies and painted, and she's actually done a metal butterfly or dragonfly here. Some of the strips that she has on this page are coming off, so you need to be careful of the glue that you use. So I'm going to glue all those back down for her and do something else, and that will go back to her, and that is particularly something that she really likes, and that she, you know, really, she would treasure that, and then we'll start another one because she loves doing these so much. Her mum says that she will start another one. So there's lots of different things that you can do in that. And like, I haven't got as much writing in that, but I will write her a little letter because she's 4. And so she can't really read it right now. She can write her name a little bit and do a little bit of writing and stuff, but she can't read it really well. So I'm going to put a letter in there that her mum can read to her, but then she'll be able to pull it out as she gets older, which is really cool. And we'll have a collection of those, and one day she'll have a book of letter journals from her Auntie Peter and her. So I love that idea. So it's all about imparting a little bit of yourself. The letter journals are there so that everybody has a little piece of art from everybody else that's involved in the swap, and a lot of you are involved in many swaps. But I strongly encourage you to do something a little bit more than art, because then as Mary says, what is the meaning of it all? Yes, we swap pretty pictures, but we can send each other pretty pictures whenever we want. This is something that we can ponder on, and I know that when I've done these, I'm doing a journal at the moment which is between 2 of my closest friends, so Sarah Whitney and Gina Aarons, and we are having so much fun with this journal. It's a private journal that we're doing, and we have set up a chat and we are teasing each other about what we're putting in it and giving spoilers and teasers. No pictures. We are talking about the sorts of things that we'd like to see in the journal. So I have another journal from another swap that I'm in, where I got post-it notes through the journal that tells me things that the author and owner of that journal would love to see. Things like, there's a world map in it, but she actually wants a picture of something that's unique to your area. So I live up the road from a koala sanctuary, so I'm going to put a photo of a koala in it. And she's got these awesome cows that have really long hair from where she lives in the UK. And I think that that's another really unique thing again, and you can talk about stuff in your life that's unique to where you live. And even put a photo of you. So I'm going to print out some small photos of me and stick them in some of these as well, because then they put a face to the name. And like, although most of you in these swaps would know what I look like and you watch me on YouTube, but then you know, you can share it with other people in your life, and there may come a time where you can't remember, or you're not online, or something happens and you flick through these journals and they bring back awesome memories. So it's just important to get everything done that you can and put a little bit of yourself in it. It doesn't take a lot of effort to think about things that you can do. Like, I've just received a whole heap of Panda tags in Happy Mail. Those tags are perfect for putting in letter journals. And Lisa knew that. She knows that I administer that, and she's just sent me a whole packet of beautiful Happy Mail that is specifically designed that I can use in the size and everything that I can use in letter journals, which is so thoughtful, and I really appreciate it. There's another thing that I just wanted to share, and in a current letter journal that I'm doing at the moment, there's a little pocket inside the front cover, and it's got some tags in it, and the message on it says, take one, share one, create one. And it's all about adding some interactive things in a journal that are fun, that you can take a bit, add a bit, share a bit, glue a bit, write a bit, paint a bit. All those little things that all go together to put personal touches in journals and to make them special and a true delight for the recipient of them when they finally get them. So that's it for me. I know I've rambled on just a little bit today, and you know, I'm now getting to the point where I get a list of requests of things to talk about. I feel a little bit like the frugal crafter, although I will never ever talk as fast as Lindsay. She has me on that. I can't talk that fast, or I will do spoonerisms and trip over my words and then be completely unintelligible because I'll be laughing at myself so much. So I try very hard not to talk that fast because it's a hilarious thing to watch. You can't necessarily understand what I say, but I give it a red hot go. So, all right. Ciao for now. Thank you. Bye.